Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tasha. Let's get into this. So, hi guys, I hope all is well. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. How are y'all doing out there? No periodic table, no alien talk, but you already know the creator came through with a message, all right? So, I explained to you guys how every now and again I'll get a download and I would sit on it and I would have to figure out if it is for me or if it's something for the podcast or both, okay? It's not often, but we've had a few messages that were for me, and the creator gave me the green light to go ahead and share with the podcast, okay? This is one of those messages. So, because we've had this shift, because we've had these different vibrations, we are stepping into a new cycle. We're stepping into a new vibration. Some of this is very unfamiliar to a lot of people. And the creator told me to pose this scenario so we could get a better understanding, okay? Because there is an assumption that witchcraft and magic and juju is weakening our gifts and pulling us away from the creator. And nothing could be further from the truth, okay? If you are aware of the different, systems and class systems that are related and associated with different frequencies, then you'll be aware, right? Us coming into this new vibration is allowing us to just kind of get a little bit more acquainted, right? With ourselves, with the creator, with the world around us, and the new entities that are here, whether they are good or bad, okay? I'm not telling you to go hang out with the devil or a bad spirit, but I am telling you to be aware of their existence so you can know how to move and combat these different energies, okay? Now, because we are in this particular space, I find it very interesting that the creator would pull such a stunt, okay? I was getting kind of scared. I got a download. Well, first, you will have this nudge or this feeling that you are being disconnected from the creator, right? And that is not true. What's happening is it's just like the first awakening. It's just like that first dark night of the soul. When you realize that something spiritual is going on with you, you get isolated, you pray, you fast, you start making all these different abrupt changes. You don't really understand what's happening, right? With this frequency, we are being tested again. It's just because this is a new cycle and we have this new vibration, we are moving into points. Now, this is the interesting part. Because of these different shifts and because of the movement and because we're moving into spaces and like uncharted waters and just things that are a little more unfamiliar to us, this is kind of like an entry point for an attack, right? So those who send out magic and witchcraft and they are aware of the different areas to attack us in, they know when to do it, they know how to do it. It's pretty much one of those things where we're being tested, okay? We are being tested. It's no doubt about that. However, there is a lot going on, and the creator is just like in the beginning, sitting back watching us and timing us and testing us and providing us with very little insight or guidance, right? The protection is there. The insight is there, but he is not fueling us with making certain decisions, having certain thoughts. We're kind of like using our own free will within certain guidelines, right? This is the creator's way of seeing how much we have learned from the beginning, right? From these first tests. how patient and strong we've become since the original dark night of the soul, and how much more we can take, okay? Our limits are being tested. We're being pushed in certain ways, and this could be in any area, right? For some people, it's money. For others, it's health. For some people, it's their children. For others, it's their spouse. It's their family members. For some people, it's their job, right? There are things that you are going to be tested with over the next few weeks. And when I say next few weeks, I want to say about 6 weeks, okay? Anywhere from 6 to 9 weeks. A little bit more for some people depending on their journey, because they have to get tested a little more. These are mainly the people who kind of skipped those cycles. Remember, we talked about that. The people who kind of just were here, placed in the middle of this awakening, and they're kind of just like, finding their way. You have some people who were awakened a little bit earlier. Those are the more mature, older souls, right? The people who are kind of just jumping in, they're kind of like new to this, and they just kind of have to get acclimated to this new vibration that we're in, okay? The more the merrier, whatever. But the gist here of this conversation is to be confident in what you have learned and what you have conquered so far, because the Creator is not going to leave you. He brought you this far simply because He loves you, not because He had to, but because it is a part of His plan for you to be wherever you are at this moment, whether it is where you are physically or where you are in your journey, right? If you understand spiritual warfare, if you understand spirituality, if you understand the nature of God, if you are willing to do all that is required to get where you're going, then you should understand this is just another cycle, okay? Most of us don't really understand any other ways to fight, right? Your foundation is what you've been walking on and standing in all of this time. So you really don't have another understanding. I mean, the only difference is your old self, right? That's the only thing. And that would be descending, and that would be reversing your energy and literally just going against the timeline, right? You have grown and gotten to where you are for a reason. And this is where I kind of started looking and realizing, like, okay, we should now be at that point where you can feel the rituals. We should now be at that point where you can, in real time, pray off any influences that are attempting to manipulate you in the spirit. You should be able to see things that are coming towards you with no problem, okay? You should be able to understand what it is that you're up against. If you're having issues with understanding the warfare, what it is that you're battling, you can always fast. Fasting and prayer are like, it's like the combinations, like the knockout combo, right? These are the things that you want to engage in and do to not only combat warfare, but to center yourself. I don't know if you felt it, but after you pray, you get this sense of, anxiety leaving you. You kind of just feel a little bit more at ease. You're a little bit more invested in yourself, in your downloads, in your environment. You get a little bit more insight, and you just kind of get all of the things off your chest that have been bothering you. So you need to really understand that this spiritual journey is comprised of multiple moving parts, and you're just at the center of it. There are a lot of things that are connected to you that you cannot see, that are in this realm and that are not, okay? Just imagine like one rope and then all of these little split ends or ropes being tied to that one rope. That one rope is you, and all of those little split ends or ropes being tied to that rope are all of the things that are connected to you. And you don't necessarily see or have the option to control, right, what those things are plugged into. The extensions of you, you don't get to always see what they are connected to. So this is why you pray for the unseen, the things that you're unaware of, the things that you have no control over. This is why we pray, because we want the Creator to fill us in. Sometimes you don't even have to ask for anything. Right? You'll get the download, you'll get the insight, and however your gifts are set up, it's going to determine how you receive it, right? You may get a dream, you may hear something, you may see something, you may feel something, you may smell something. It just depends, however the Creator decides to communicate with you. And this is one of the things, this is just one aspect of us coming into the realization of where we're growing, of where we are, of what it is that we've developed into. The more that you can tap into the Creator now is pulling you closer to yourself, and it's revealing to you your strength, because the Creator is like, okay, I'm just going to throw this out there and I'm going to see who catches it, right? It's like something like that, like along the lines of that. Just really trying to understand what is required to keep yourself in check, to keep yourself in line, to have that full understanding on not only what is a weakness and what is a strength, but how to keep yourself connected to the Creator at all times. Because if you can disconnect and unplug from God, this is going to be the main thing that keeps you caught up. This is going to be the main thing that keeps you out of alignment. This is going to be the main thing that will make it easier to attack you. You have to keep your guard up, okay? And this is something that the Creator was telling me for myself, and He told me to go ahead and share it with the podcast. So I'm gonna give this segment with conviction, because it's something that I can identify with. It was one of my downloads for me. I get a lot of downloads, like I told you guys, that are just for me and I don't share with the podcast. And then I get some downloads that are for me, and then I ask the Creator if He wants me to share it. And then there are some things that are strictly for the podcast and I have nothing to do with it. So all of these things are connected in the spiritual realm. Hopefully, if you are listening, this is something that is for you. Not everything is going to be for you. We know that, right? There are sometimes going to be things that have absolutely nothing to do with you at all. And it's probably for someone that you're connected to. You know, maybe you could take a segment and send it to them if you know it's something that they can identify with or attest to, right? And we don't have to always be, enthralled and preoccupied with the things that we are afraid of and have questions about with the spiritual realm, right? We can just flow. We can just be in a space where we're just happy to be here and we are taking the things as they come, right? And then there are times where you absolutely have to combat what is coming your way, what is being thrown at you. The opposition will never stop. Like, let's just start there. The opposition will never allow you to rest. The opposition will never allow you to think and understand how blessed and connected you really and truly are to the Creator. So that's why it's your job to stand on business. You can never let up. You have to always make sure that you are standing strong in your spot, simply because this has everything to do with warfare. This is what warfare is. So that means you can't stop praying. You can't stop fasting. You can't stop believing. You can't give up. You have to keep going. That's what this war is about. Standing on business, making sure that you are constantly reminding people that God exists and that you are a representative of the Creator. That's what this is. And anytime you feel weary and weak, you calling your ancestors. That's the purpose of our ancestors. You calling your angels. You calling your spirit guides. You call in the things that will build you up and strengthen you, right? Even if it's just a little prayer from your neighbor next door. from your mom, from your grandma, from your sibs. I don't know. But you stay connected to what brings you strength, all right? But I'm going to end it here. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. I hope you guys are drinking your water, eating your fruit and vegetables, and sipping on your own tea because it's free. Love y'all. Peace.